السلام عليكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. All praises are Allah's, Lord of the world, and may His peace and blessings be upon our Master, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, and His pure, immaculate Ahlul Bayt. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Last night, being the eve of the anniversary of the birthday of the second successor to the Holy Prophet, Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba, alayhi salam, I mentioned just a line from Ibn Arabi, who in one of his works praises the 14 Ma'sumeen with particular praises in relation to Imam Hassan. He said, Salawatullah ala thani min shurut la ilaha illallah. May Allah's blessings be upon the second of the prerequisites to La ilaha illallah. And then I decided to just open this La ilaha illallah up in order to understand later what being a prerequisite to La ilaha illallah actually entails. So we spoke about Tawheed in a particular fashion. Now there may be people here who weren't present last night. I'll just go through some points. I won't go through everything naturally, but the first was in Surah Al-Ikhlas. It says, Qul, say, who? Him. It's all Him. This Him is a name of Allah's. We have this name in many of these supplications, Yahu. And in other sacred texts they have it. For example, Yahweh, as we see in the Torah, for example, or in other texts, it's that Yahu, it's the same. And I'm not sure whether the server Yahu has any relation to this or not, but it's another issue. But Qul who? Say Him. It's all Him. One of Allama Tabatabawi's students would say that one of his invocations would always be Laysa illahu. Allama Tabatawi said. So there's nothing but Him. There's nothing outside Him. Whatever is, it's all Him. In the Quran, when you see the word who, pay a bit more attention to it next time. What follows is important. For example, who al-awwalu wal-akhiru. Who al-awwalu wal-akhiru. Who. That who is al-awwalu wal-akhiru wal-dhahiru wal-batin. Him, Allah, who, that pure existence that we were speaking about last night, existence, qua existence, He's the first of everything, the last of everything, the outside, the inside. There's nothing Allah free. There's nothing who free, because He's As-Samad. Who alladhi khalaqa as-samawati wal-ard. That who again? It's who. Essence of Allah, which comprises all His essence, His attributes, which we'll speak about later, that measures the heavens and the earth. He permeates through all things. Whatever is, that who permeates through it. There's nothing, there's no thing that is who free. Whatever is a manifestation of all Allah's attributes. It's who in all things. For example, this book, a plant, an animal, a human, they all have all of Allah's attributes. There's not one thing which has more Allah than another. There's not one thing which has that pure existence more than another. So why are they different then on the outside? if they are all manifestations of all of Allah's attributes, the differences are as a result of the recipient, the qabil. Because of the difference of the recipient, the book, the plant, the animal, the human, they will manifest who differently. The plant manifests more of Allah's attributes, manifests more. Not that they both all have manifestation, they all have Allah's attributes. Because there's nothing that is who free. The difference arises how they manifest those attributes. They manifest the attributes some more than the other, depending on the recipient. So the plant manifests more of Allah's attributes than the stone. All of Allah's attributes are in the stone. Nothing can be who free. Nothing can be Allah free. Don't say that this has 5 attributes of Allah, this has 20, this has 99. No, they all have all of Allah's attributes. How those attributes are manifested, they differ. Why? Because of the recipient. The animal manifests more of Allah's attributes, manifests, than plants do. The Imams, the Ma'sumin, are complete manifestations of Allah's attributes. Insan, as Khalifatullah, also has the capacity to manifest all of Allah's attributes. Who ma'akum aynama kuntum. Who, all of Allah's attributes, it's with you, wherever you are. No one is free from it. No thing is free from it. Sorry to emphasize this who a bit, but I think it's important just for this to be firmly incorporated within everyone. Who الذي في السماء إله وفي الأرض إله. It's Him that's God in the heavens and God on earth. It's all who permeates through whatever is, and there's nothing outside it. It's all Him. كل يوم who في شأن. It's all Him, in dimension, at work, in play. Allah acting, Allah li. La ilaha illahu. There is nothing but Him. Whatever you see around you, action-wise, attribute-wise, thing-wise, it's all Him in play. Laysa illahu. One of the names of the formulae that Nabi Khidr taught Amir al-Mu'mineen, it was a vision. And Amir al-Mu'mineen saw Nabi Khidr in a vision. He didn't see the personal, the physical entity. And then it was during war too. It was one night during war, and then he received, it's Allah giving him this knowledge through this vision. Ya man lahu illahu. I don't want to really translate that one, but you see how important these things are. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam says, who at Him داخل في الأشياء لا بممازجة. At Him is in all things, but it's not as if it's blended in it. See, don't get me wrong, there's no place or container involved here. When we say who, when we say that pure existence is in all things, no thing can be existence-less. Everything is dependent on it. Nothing is existence-free. See, I'm always changing it's one truth here. I'm just going explaining it in different ways, with different sentences. He's saying that who is in all things. Existence, pure existence is in all things. But it's not as if this is a cup and that's in it. No. Then he continues that who, it's خارج عنها لا بمزايلة. It's outside all things too, but it's not separate from it. Remember, lam yalid wa lam yulad? And Allah doesn't give birth because nothing becomes free, nothing becomes separate from Allah. Nothing becomes independent from Allah. See, all this has to be looked together. There's a dua Mujib. It gives about 150 names of Allah in a particular way. It gives it in twos. You know, two names one after the other. I forgot to check, I just recall that now. I forgot to check the actual wording there. But there, it's important when you look at the names which are come in twos. Each couple of names, they're related to one another. And the second, in most instances, is a more complete form than the first. And one of those names, it's Ya Mawjood. You see, Allah is Mawjood. Period. Finished. Let's close everything and go. That's it. Laysa illahu. So what about, aren't I existing? Well, no. Because your existence is dependent upon Allah. It's okay to call me and you an existing being too. That's okay. But it's secondary to Allah's existence. It's dependent upon Allah's existence. He's the only original, independent mawjood. La ilaha illahu. There's no existence but that pure existence. Existence, core existence. All of Allah's names are like that. Allah is Wali. So why do we call Amirul Mu'mineen Wali? Actually, one verse in the Quran, I'm not sure exactly the word, but it's something like هُنَالِكَ الْوَلَايَةُ الْحَقِّ or هُنَالِكَ الْوَلَايَةُ لِلْحَقِّ. It's in Surah Al-Kahf. I just can't remember. Walaya is Allah's, period, finished. The Wali is Allah, no one else. So why do we call the Holy Prophet a Wali? Why do we call Amirul Mu'mineen a Wali? Their wilaya is secondary to, is dependent upon Allah's true, independent, absolute wilaya. They're just manifesting it. They're just reflecting it. Otherwise, He is the Wali. No one else. Here, maybe we share some ground with the Wahhabi brothers, if we interpret it like this anyway. But anyway, Ayatollah Hassan Zadeh has a book of poems, and in this poem he says, Ilahi guruhi kukuguyand vahasan hu. He says, oh Allah, some people say, where, where's Allah? As if it was sun, moon, earth, people, plants, and let's look for Allah, let's find Him. You see, numerical Tawheed, they've lost the plot. And that's the problem. We have to understand what we're looking for when we're saying, let's find Allah, to atheists. In most discussions between atheists and believers, the reason sometimes the atheists' arguments are stronger is because the believer, now being from whatever religion, they're speaking of Allah in a way that they think Allah is in a house somewhere in the heavens. To be careful how you want to describe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have to speak with the atheists if you want to, argue with them or speak with them, which personally I don't think is a good idea. But if you want to do it, at least go through this existence concept. The reason I don't say it's a good idea because usually in these arguments, it's an ego thing. It's not done for Allah's sake. If someone wants to really do it for Allah's sake, they wouldn't argue the way they do. You've all seen it at school, at university, at the workplace. It's a more of a macho thing that you want to win something. I am this or I am that. And without that ikhlas, it won't work anyway. And you'll probably do more damage. And forgive me for saying this, most people do more damage than good. So some people say, where's Allah? Where's Allah? Hassan, that's Ayatollah Hassan's his first name. Hassan, he doesn't say, where is Allah? It is who. It's all Him. You see, the numerical Tawheed, Samadi Tawheed. Look at the difference here. They say, where? He says, Him. Laysa illahu. Ya man lahu illahu. Ya mawjood. هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن لا إله إلا الله. التوحيد إسقاط الإضافات. Tawheed is when you take all the additional aspects away to get to that pure existence. Not existence in a particular shape, form, length, breadth, weight, and so on and so forth. Okay. Then we reached Imam Hussein's supplication, Dua Arafah, and I think this is where we were last night. كيف يستدل عليك بما هو في وجوده مفتقر إليك. How can you be proved, speaking with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how is it that you, Allah, and we don't believe in Samadi Tawheed, they believe that there's Laysa illahu, there's nothing but Him. Such an understanding about how can you, Allah, be proved by means of something which depends upon you existence-wise. That doesn't make sense. Look how delicate the wording is. أَيَكُونُ لِغَيْرِكَ مِنَ الظُّهُورِ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ. Other than you, is there any manifestation, any dhuhur, which is not in unity with you? It's a rhetorical question. Is there any manifestation other than it being yours that isn't in unity with you? This unity is understood from one of the prepositions here. It's the preposition of lam. In Arabic, there are about 22, 21 or 22 prepositions, and many particles, but prepositions, about 20. Each one has over 20 meanings. You see? The irfan of the Quran is hidden in these prepositions. Lillahi ma fis samawati wa ma fil ard. Lillahi, the lam. Here it's the lam of unity. Whatever's in the heavens and the earth is in unity with Allah. Nothing is separate from it. This preposition is important. All prepositions. But the translations, they can't explain it. So in the Quran, if we say fi, the translator will say in. The lam will say for. You see, ma'a, with. All these different prepositions don't have one word to translate. Ayatollah Jawadi Amani would always say that our aqa'id determines our grammar, not the other way around. It's a delicate point. We'll speak more about that later when we speak about visions, because there too, prepositions are important. أَيَكُونُ لِغَيْرِكَ مِنَ الظُّهُورِ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ. Other than you, are there any manifestations that aren't in unity with you? حَتَّى يَكُونَ هُوَ الْمُظْهِرَ لَكَ. So that we say that those manifestations manifest you. We touched upon this last night. Are there any manifestations outside you, Allah, so that those manifestations point to you, prove you? Of course not. There's nothing outside you. There's nothing outside pure existence. That philosophical argument, it's okay. Nothing wrong with it. That wants to prove Allah through creation, it's limited. It has problems. But still, it's rational. It has rational consequences. It's okay. It's acceptable. That you say from the sun, from the moon, it points us to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. An old weaver said that to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. The Imam accepted everyone to their own capacity of understanding. Otherwise, there's nothing existence free, there's nothing Allah free in order to independently point to Allah. That's numerical tawheed. متى غبت حتى تحتاج إلى دليل يدل عليه. When were you ever absent so that you would need a guide, a proof pointing towards you? When were you ever absent? Because that pure existence, that Allah, that Who, has no beginning, has no end. You see? There's no beginning to it. If there's a beginning to existence, what happened before? What was there before? If you say existence, it proves our point. If you say nothing, we say that's impossible. The Urafa, they're very adamant on this. You don't have to take my word, because many theologians don't accept that non-existence, nothingness is impossible. They believe in it. That's up to you and your rationality. Don't let me change your mind or do no. Everyone, when you go in the hereafter, it's you and your aqa'id. Your heaven is you and your aqa'id. You and your actions. Your aqa'id, your beliefs, your actions, your intentions create your heaven, moment to moment. Don't take anyone's word. You have to accept it. It's you and your understanding of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As long as the minimum is this, from a fiqhi perspective, you accept the oneness of Allah. A oneness, that's acceptable. You don't say there's two, or 2 parts, or 3 parts, or that kind of thing. That's a minimum for Tawheed. The maximum, it's infinite. There's no limit to Tawheed. So there's no beginning to existence. So let's say with the Big Bang, what the scientists are saying, and what the scientists say, it's important. They don't say these things willy-nilly, they put a lot of effort into it. I don't want to put them down. It's good to listen and read what the scientists say. We have to also appreciate that they change their theories continuously. That's okay too. It's a good sign. It means that they've acknowledged they were wrong. And it's a natural thing that they change their theories. Because with the time they keep on learning more and more new things. So there's nothing wrong with that. Now, the Big Bang, it has different understandings to it. I'm not saying there's only one understanding of the Big Bang. But if they say the Big Bang came out of nothingness, that's problematic. At least for the Urafa. Now you may find some theologians excited with the Big Bang, and they like it, and they want to show it, and they use verses of the Quran to show it. And that's okay too, that's their understanding. But if the Big Bang means this emanating from nothingness, which I don't think it does, but if it does, then that's a problem. And if it came from something, so there was something there. And that something came from something else, which came from something else. There's no beginning. Even the material realm, it's infinite. There's no end to the material realm. And science has never said there has to be an end either. Because if there's an end to the material realm, what's after that? Either you say there's something, or you say there's nothing. If you say there's something, it proves a point. If you say it's nothing, well, that's non-existence. That's problematic. See, these things have to be appreciated and acknowledged. So, when someone says, we want to find Allah, we want to find God, we have to understand what do they mean by we want to find God. What is your understanding of God? If it's, we have the skies, the earth, people, plants, and so on and so forth, now we want to find God, well, you've lost right at the beginning, from square one. What you're finding is not what we're referring to as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And many people do that, and they put a lot of effort into that. And they've converted many people through that. That's okay, that understanding, nothing's wrong with it. But we have to understand what we mean by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So far we've acknowledged what we mean is that pure existence. Now, another question they pose is, everything has a cause. What's the cause of Allah? See, there again. The question is wrong. It doesn't apply to the Allah that we want to speak about. That everything has a cause. What is the cause of this? Because in relation to pure existence, there is no beginning. From pre-eternity, it's infinite. From pre-eternity to post-eternity. Another argument they use in philosophy, which is okay in relation to proving Allah, is that A exists. For example, anything you want, A exists. It has a cause. Its cause is B. B has a cause. The cause of B is C. C has to have a cause. Because if it doesn't have a cause, it keeps on going, it falls under tasalsul, linear regression, and if it never comes to a point where it stops, A wouldn't have come to B realized and actualized in the first place. So it has to end, they say, with something which is causeless, and they call that Allah. We have that one of the proofs in theology. But the Urafo don't like it. You can't force them. That's because, you should now understand why. It's because of that numerical tawheed. It's as if they're separating that causeless entity, let's say D, separating it from A, B, and C. That's numerical tawheed. An irfani, samadi, tawheedi worldview doesn't see A, B, and C separate from Allah. A samadi, tawheedi worldview doesn't even see B and C and all these as causes. They're not even causes. There's only one cause. Laysa illahu. It's only Him. Everything else, these are partial causes. The real cause without which a real cause, which is that cause without which the effects won't be realized, that's only one of those. That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing else is a real cause, because nothing's independent in action. It's all Him, in play, in dimension. See, the differences are quite vast. It's like the chicken and egg, for example. Which came first? The chicken, and there must have been an egg. Okay, the egg, there must have been a chicken. Must have been an egg, must have been a chicken. Keep on going back. You don't have to come to a beginning. There doesn't have to be a beginning. When Allah is pre-eternal to post-eternal, when Allah, our pure existence, has no beginning, why should creation have a beginning? You see? If there is going to be a beginning, then you have to explain many things now. Where did that first created thing, how did it come to be? Was it kun fayakun? B, I say B and it is. That's okay. If that's your understanding, that's okay. But if you're of the type that you don't accept non-existence as possible, then you'll have difficulties. These are just different perspectives. Where were we now? Yes. The dua, yes. And finally, mata ba'utta. When were you ever distanced? Before it would say, when were you ever absent? So that you would need something to point to you. When were you ever distanced? حتى تكون الآثار هي التي توصل إليك. When were you ever distanced so that manifestations would lead us to you? You were never distanced. هو الأول والآخر والظاهر والباطن. Okay. Now, the next point is also important. It's in relation to what we mean by Allah's essence and Allah's attributes. There's also the difference of understanding between the different scholars, different types of scholars that there are. It's a very easy point. It can be tricky if you don't pay attention. But I'll go through an analogy first. The analogy of the I, me, I, the soul. And then after that analogy, we'll go to Allah and we can understand it very well. And actually, this is one of the esoteric interpretations of the holy tradition. Man arafa nafsa, arafa faqad arafa rabbah. One who knows the soul, oneself, will know one's Lord. Ayatollah Hassan Zad has given 100 different interpretations to this tradition. This is one of them. We have to first go through this analogy of the soul, and then we'll understand what essence and attributes mean in relation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When they say the essence is the attributes, that's not necessarily true. We have to see what they mean by that. Okay. So, the analogy is with me, the self, the I, the first person plural. Sometimes we say, I am eating, I am drinking, I am fasting, I am driving, I am studying. All these are manifesting the I. These are manifestations of the I. Eating, drinking, driving, studying. It's all the I in dimension. It's all the I doing certain things. None of them are I-less. Then you say, okay, thank you for that, but what is the I? Well, you say, I am Faruq. I am X kilograms. I am X centimeters tall. My name is this. My father's name is that. At X kilograms, at X centimeters, my father's this, my profession's this, but they're still manifesting me. It doesn't help in relation to what the essence of the self is. It's still a manifestation of me that I'm giving you. The passport details, for example. Even higher, sometimes you say, my mind, my soul, my spirit, my aql, my intellect. Here, intellect, soul, spirit, everything. They're all manifestations of the I, the me. But it's not the me, period. It's not the me itself. I drive, I hear, I eat. This driving, hearing, eating, playing, they're all manifestations of me. I am the hearer, the player, the studier, but it's not the case that I am the hearer, period. Or I am the studier, period. I am the driver, period. All these are me in dimension. They're all manifestations of me. All actions, all attributes that we attribute to ourselves, all these are just manifestations of the I. This hearing, this eating, this X kilograms, they are not the I. They're different to the I, but they're not separate from the I. They're in unity with the I. That's an important point. All these things we've mentioned, all these actions and attributes, none of them are the I. But none of them are separate from the I. All of them are in unity of them, in unity with the I. None of them are I-less. So, we have an essence, we call it the I. We have this substance, we call it the I. When this I goes into the realm of eating, now eating is an attribute, hearing is an attribute, driving is an attribute, punishing is an attribute, being forgiving is an attribute. These are all attributes. Attributes are different to names. Names are the forgiver, the player, the hearer, the seer. Attributes is playing, seeing, hearing, knowing. This I, me, the self, the essence of what I am, that I, when it's involved in the domain of hearing, which is an attribute, sifat, when this I is in the realm of hearing, it's given a name. It's called now the hearer. The I is given a name. It's called a hearer. The same I which was hearing and was given the name hearer sees. In the realm of seeing, it's given a name. It's now called basir, the seer. The same I that is the hearer and the seer, the same I in another realm, let's say writing, when I'm writing something, it's given a name, katib, the writer. This hearer, the seer, the writer, they're not different people. It's all one reality. It's the I. All these are manifestations of the I. Just it depends on which realm you're in, which manifestations manifest at that given time. Okay, now let's go now to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The same exists. You should now have understood this point, this analogy. The essence of Allah is one. And it's not, and the attribute, period. The attributes are Him, or manifesting Him, or in unity with Allah, the essence of Allah. That essence of Allah is also a hearer. That hearer is a seer. The seer is the punisher, is the rewarder. It's all Him in play. كُلَّ يَوْمٍ هُوَ فِي شَأْنٍ. But don't say that the essence of Allah is this attribute, period. No. The essence isn't the same as the attribute. But it's not separate from the attribute. Whatever, if that's difficult to understand, keep on going to the nafs example, the analogy. Try to solve it there before going and applying it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, whenever you see sustenance in the world, where do you see sustenance? The mother, for example, breastfeeding the child. The person going to the grocers to get some food, for example. All forms of sustenance, wherever you see it in this world, or in the cosmos in general, it's Allah's raziqiyya in play. He is raziq, He is a provider of sustenance. The mother feeding, it's a manifestation of the attribute al-raziq. The grocer's giving is a manifestation of the attribute al-raziq. Whatever knowledge you see in this world, the parent to the child, teaching the child, the teacher to the pupil, teaching the pupil. Whatever form of knowledge you see, it's a manifestation of Allah's being alim, being alim. It's all Allah's attributes in play. Whatever is a manifestation of Allah's attributes. There it's the raziqiyya being manifested. There it's Allah's knowledge being manifested. In other places, Allah's wisdom is being manifested. In some places, Allah's guidance, and so on and so forth. Whatever we see around it, it's all Allah's attributes in play. It's not His essence, though. But we're seeing Allah's attributes in play. It's all Him in dimension. There's nothing outside Him. There's nothing independent from Him. There's nothing separate from Him. Now, a question arises that when Allah is manifesting His Raziqiyya, does it mean He's not manifesting His Alamiyya, His Hakimiyya, His Hakimiyya, His other attributes when He's manifesting that? No. Because that would be differentiating and categorizing Allah. Some of Allah is there in that action, but some of it is absent. No. All of Allah's attributes are manifesting in all actions, in all things, at all times. Laysa illahu. So, with the, for example, teacher teaching the pupil, or the parent teaching the child, we said the manifestations of Allah's being the all-knowing. It's Allah's knowledge which is now manifesting. At the same time, Allah is manifesting all His other 1,001 attributes at the same time as the teacher is teaching the pupil. However, due to the teacher-pupil environment, due to the recipient, it manifests this attribute more. The others are still present though. This is a very important point. In relation to the oneness of Allah, if you understood this point, the oneness of that Tawheed, you should be entering a new realm of understanding it. Okay, I think I'll stop there. And then from tomorrow we'll go maybe, what does it mean to be now a prerequisite of this Tawheed and this essence and attributes. وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله.